We are live, baby. What's going on, y'all? It's Logan here with my amazing co-host EJ, and welcome back to Swampcast. We got a lot of great stuff to get to today. Yeah, EJ, man, up in it with the quality of the layout we got for y'all. I'm really excited for it. EJ, how we feeling over in the beautiful state of California?
Yo, it's morning time over here. We're just waking up. So we're feeling good. Y'all the ones halfway through the day over there.
It's true. That's true. That's true. It's been a long one for us out here. Honestly, it's been a rainy ass week in Florida. Like literally every single day. I mean, obviously it always rains, most
Uh,
days in this time of the year, but golly, dude, it's been every single day. And not just like little showers. We're talking like little mini hurricanes coming through. And so it's been like that the past week. So, the grass is growing 3 times of what it usually does. And so I've been having to mow it constantly over and
well,
over. So
now that you bring that up, it's been a couple years since we've been like having to cancel games because of hurricane. So
mhm.
hopefully that's not like a thing, because I remember every time there's a hurricane, it's always LSU, but who don't play LSU this year? And then they reschedule the game. Something crazy happens.
Yeah.
So, hopefully y'all don't get too many hurricanes. That's one thing we don't have to worry about in California.
100%, man. 100%. You gotta worry about the earthquakes though, which I don't play with.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
little sketch.
that's
We don't love
yeah.
that. But man, we got a lot of great stuff to get into. It's finally here, EJ. Fall camp. I mean, that's when you
Woo!
know it's starting up. The coaches' polls drop, and we got a lot of stuff to get into. A lot of basketball news as well, man. Aberdeen getting his eligibility. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. Some news regarding that, EJ. But man, I mean, look, obviously practice started this past week. We have a little bit of news, nothing too crazy yet, but I know once the scrimmages start to happen, right? And we'll get into the dates and all of that. And when that goes down, it's gonna get serious. And so finally, Florida Gator football is only a couple weeks out, which it's mind blowing to think that college football is what 2 weeks out now, 3 weeks. It's ridiculous. So a lot of great stuff, EJ. Anything you want to say before we get into all the content that we got for everyone today? Oh, can't hear you.
Sorry about that, guys. Now you
He's
can hear
back.
me. Wait, week 0. Isn't that like the 25th? It's like some,
Yeah, literally like
around
two
there
weeks out.
sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so hey, we're ready.
Let's go, man. Hell yeah. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it, man. We have an awesome little graphic here that we put together for you guys. Really, EJ did. Just kind of talk about everything. So obviously, I think we did the live right after media day, so it's been a couple weeks since then. But we do have a lot of good content here. So kind of just a recap of the roster, EJ. 117 players on the roster, 34 transfers added. And one thing that Rusty Witt talked about was there's 14,000 pounds added across all the main 4 lifts amongst the entire team, which is dope, bro. They're putting in weight. Something that, Summerall came in and said, EJ, very early on was, dude, this offensive line is weak as hell. This ain't no SEC offensive line. And he got the weight up, man. And so we love to see that. This team is getting strong. It's getting big. And we know how it is in the SEC, man. Got to be strong in those trenches, EJ. So love to see that. 56 players over 20 miles an hour. We love to see that, man. Obviously, practice started August 5th with scrimmages August 15th and August 22nd. So we have a scrimmage, EJ, this upcoming Saturday, right? So 6 days away. We're going to know a lot. We are going to know a lot. Pads went on at practice 3. They're in pads, baby. Feels so good. Dallas Wilson's out there mossing guys, bro. It's a great time, man. It's a great time. So yeah, great stuff there. And also, EJ, if you want to add anything, just cut me off because I'll just keep going because we got a lot of slides here. And then obviously going into the thing that everyone's kind of been talking about. I mean, look, Aaron Philo versus Tramel Jones, right? Something that we were talking about quite often, at least in my opinion. I think Aaron Philo is going to get the nod. I think he's going to get the first snap against FAU. Now, it doesn't mean that Tramel's not going to be starting against Auburn. I just think that you're going to see both quarterbacks his first 2 games, especially EJ with how those 2 first games are matchup wise.
Yeah, it just looks like it's going the Philo way, which, hey, it's fine. I mean, they brought him in for a reason. Summerall, we put a quote in here, maybe 5 minutes before the game, before anyone finds out. But, I think at the end of the day, whoever they're most comfortable with giving us a chance to win is what we're looking for. And Faulkner seems to think that we can win with both guys. It's just who's going to end up being the most consistent. But also, kind of like what we talked last week, who's going to be the guy that's not just going to give you consistency, but give you big plays?
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, that was the Urban Myers thing. Big play. You just need 2 or 3 big plays a game, and that's how you win. I mean, you can't dink and dunk your way down the field. You got to be like, okay, dink dunk, 50-yard pass. That's how you score. So, who's going to be able to give us those big bursts? That's going to be the key. And, so we'll see who can do that.
It'll be interesting. I mean, from what I'm hearing and from what we're getting from it, EJ, Tramel kind of has that big, big play making ability, while Aaron Philo is more consistent. We'll see kind of what they're looking for. I mean, they could say all these things, but we'll see what it actually looks like when that time comes around. But you know me, I'm a Tramel guy, but I think Aaron Philo can also offer a lot of consistency in an offense where you don't really need to be this big game changer. Get it out to Eric Singleton, get it out to any of these guys on the outside, Dallas Wilson, VB3. You're chilling, and hand it off to Jaden Ball. Just don't trip, So pretty self-explanatory there. So next thing we got here is the injury board, right? Something that obviously going into this fall camp has been absolute hell for the Gators in previous years, EJ. It honestly seems like we just can't ever stay healthy. We talk about that all the time. Even mid-season, guys are getting hurt, but going into fall camp, guys were hurt. Now, everything looks really good here, and it's quiet. Knock on wood, please. But it looks pretty solid. Dijon Johnson, a guy who obviously is a phenomenal DB, going to be one of our top guys on the outside. He's ahead of schedule, had a second knee procedure, but he's back. He's most likely going to he's not limited for week 1. He's going to be back. He's going to be good to go. Fletcher Westphal, offensive lineman, ready to go. Missed all of 2025, but he's in that left tackle spot competing, EJ. And, of course, the man himself, Dallas Wilson, full health. He's back. He's running full speed. Like, he's mossing guys. I mean, if we just get even just 50% of what we saw against Texas last season, EJ, that's a dangerous man. Probably going to be one of the best wide receivers in the country. Then you got Jalen Jordan tied in out day 1. It says it's minor, though. Summerall did, so he should be good there. Caden Hall, safety, sideline, soft tissue, so he should be flown for week 1. And then, defensive lineman injury, but it's pretty minor. So we like what we're seeing. Obviously, we got to get through fall camp healthy, EJ. But so far, looking pretty solid. And look, there's a lot of different things you can point to being the key for the 2026, I'm going to say 2026 Florida Gator football season, EJ. But I think the biggest thing for me is injuries, and it's about staying healthy. You look at and we'll get into the roster and what it looks like right now, but DBs and I would say DBs and linebackers are the two groups that we just got to stay healthy, and we cannot afford. We're already thin there. Safeties look fine. Defensive line looks fine. Offensive line, those guys got to step up. But depth-wise, man, DBs and linebackers got to stay good.
Well, the only thing I got to say about this is if this was Napier's team, this would be like the list would be 3 times as long. So can we at least thank you for the strength and conditioning team, Dallas Wilson being back at full health, I think is absolutely. I mean, we're ranked kind of low because this guy, everyone's forgotten about this guy. He only had 1 big game, and that was the only game he pretty much played in. So he can be a game changer for you. I really think, as long as we can stay healthy, it will give us the best chance to compete. Last season, half the team was hurt the whole season. So it's like now you don't really have depth like Georgia or Alabama. So if your first team is on the bench, you're not going to be able to compete in a brutal schedule. So, this is looking good from an injury standpoint. We should be going into August or the end of August pretty healthy.
Yeah, no, 100%. You brought up the schedule too, man. I mean, this SEC run is not easy. I think we're 7th in the country on toughest schedule. I mean, past 2 seasons before this one, we've been number 1 and number 2. So it's like, hey, look, that's why you come to University of Florida, though, right? You play these big games. You play against the best talent in the country, and I guess that's something to nod to, but definitely doesn't make it easier on us. Um, Now, going into the actual, class right now, class has cooled. We're down to number 11th in the country. We were 7 in early July, but sorry, went down 7 spots from early July. But I mean, what are you gonna do, right? These other classes trying to kind of, I don't know. I think we're fine. We have a lot of time, EJ. 75% of capped allocation is what we're at so far. So there's still a lot of space, a lot of big guys we can still land. And we still got a lot of great guys in this class, EJ. Maxwell Hiller, Peyton Miller, Jaboy Smith, right, the linebacker. So we're looking pretty solid. I'm not too worried about it. It's just some of these other classes are kind of landing some guys here before this high school season starts. But once you start getting some actual visits, EJ, throughout the season, and some of these players start coming to the swamp, especially if the Gators do rock a little bit, right, with against Ole Miss, and kind of if they start the season 4-0, EJ, the swamp's going to be insane. I mean, even if we start 3-0, right, we beat Auburn, we come back home to play Ole Miss. Man, that visit weekend's gonna be huge.
Oh, for sure. We gotta. Well, one thing I want to explain to everyone, because I think with the NIL and the salary caps and all, people kind of confused. So let's break that down so people know how this works. So the House, they don't lower that gas prices, but they figured out how to cap the college teams. Anyway, so every college university that's in the NCAA is capped at $20.5 million that you can pay your students directly. Okay. Every major school is easily meeting that cap. The NIL is outside of that cap. So the school can pay up to 20.5 million, but no more. Actually, this year it went to 21.3 million. So UF, everybody's paying the 21.3 million. That is split across your entire athletic department. So what you have to do as a school, you have to say, okay, we get 21 million. What percentage of that goes to what sport? So for us, we put 75% of it to football. So 16 of the 21 is going to the football team. And then we put 15% of it to the basketball team. So 3.2 is going to the basketball, and 2.1 goes to everything else, which kind of sucks because we're everything school and they only get 2, but it is what it is. So what Strickland was complaining about was, he was like, they said it was a cap, but it's really not a cap. And he's right, because what the school can pay you directly is capped, but what NIL behind that is not. And so he's saying, well, it's not fair. So football is spending 30.3 million. So we got on here 30.3 million. So that means 16 is from the school and then 14 is from NIL. That 14, how much is everyone else spending? What's Ohio State spend? What is Alabama? So now they said that they want to raise this, total spending to like 50 million for UF. So you get the 21.3 from the school, 22.5 from NIL, and then 5 million from, for the non-revenue sports. So they want to have like 5 million go to like the, track and field and all that kind of stuff. So that's where this is all headed. We are right now spending 30 million on football. And I think what we're going to learn is there a correlation between how much you're spending over, the last few years and the results that you're getting back? Because the last thing that you want is we're spending more than anybody in the country, and then we're going 4-8 every year. You know what I mean? Because it's like, well, what the hell is that? And is it, other teams, like look at the college basketball team that won the national championship. We were like, nobody was getting paid anything, basically. Walter Clayton I don't even think he got $1 million. They won the national championship, but the next year his value goes up. So, yeah, so that's a little bit about this whole salary cap thing. It's a little confusing, but we're monitoring it.
100%. Hey, we got Kenny in here. So what up, fellas? Uh, it's uh, it's lying. It's lying time. How y'all feel about the season? It's lying time. Yeah, no. I mean, look, bro. We feel pretty. We I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I think right now this is not going to be a probably not a playoff year for the Florida Gators, right? I mean, I don't know, EJ, your thoughts on it. I'm looking at a nice 8-4 season. If we can go 8-4, 9-3, I'm okay with that. But look, it's also about how you win these games, right? Like I don't want to. When we play against FAU, against Campbell, something, and we'll get into that a little bit. We're going to kind of look at these first few games, counting Auburn, and we'll dive into it deeper. But I think I'm curious on what it looks like, right? I don't want this Billy Napier stuff we've seen in the past where we barely beat Charlotte, or even Long Island University last year, EG, that we beat like 53-7 or whatever it was. We still look like shit, you know? So it's like, I don't really care. Yeah, I care about how many games we win. Yeah, I want to win 7-8 games. But I also want these, I want to look good doing it, right? And I don't want it to. I don't know. I'm really curious. I want to get back to the Florida Gators that's out there and that wins games, but wins them not handily, but wins them in a pretty fashion, right? Make it look good. I just want to go out there and execute. Because look, you're gonna have games, EJ, and there's we talked about it as we looked at this schedule a little bit in a couple lives ago, and of course, right before the season starts, maybe the next 2 weeks, we'll go through each and every game, give our prediction, and talk about it. But there's like 6 or about 5 toss-up games. Like 5 coin flips this season. And so you're going to have games that aren't going to go your way. The key is in these coin flip games, EJ, is it really just relies on the mental state of your team. How tough are you? You know what I mean? Is your team, is there teamwork there? Is the team dynamic where it needs to be? Is it up to par? And we're going to be tested a lot this season. So it's not really about how many games we win. I think it's also really about how we look and just the team unity. I think it's gonna really you're gonna see it pretty quick. I think against Auburn again, and really in these first 2 games. EJ, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
No, we're gonna talk about these first couple of games, but right now we got 5 coin flip games. But I can tell you right now, after week 1, we're gonna know if they're coin flips or if we're gonna win or lose. Okay, because I can tell you that last year we're a top 10 team. We're so great. Then what happened to USF? Exactly. We knew after that it was going to be a terrible year. So the FAU game is critical. It's critical. We're going to talk about it a little bit later, so we don't want to talk about it too much. But all I got to say is if we come out looking like USF game from last year, it's a wrap. Like just 2027, let's start singing the, wave the white flag and all that. But if we come out and look like we are, know what we're doing, hey, it's going to be a good year.
It's true. We'll see, man. I'm excited to see it, man. Like you said, we're gonna know pretty damn quickly. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Kenny said, I think this team is built to win. And we're finally going to use our speed. I hope so, man. I hope so. We'll get into the roster here in a second, actually. Now, coaches poll came out, EJ. The board top 20,
Boo.
top 25. They got the 26th and the 27th. Florida lands at number 27, EJ, on the top 25 coaches poll. We are how many? 6 votes behind Louisville. Now, when you kind of look at it, it's like, all right, I get, I actually agree with a lot of what's going on here. Oklahoma up there, I'm high on Oklahoma this year. I think this is going to be my Texas A&M pick of last season where I was like, hey, this team is actually going to be pretty good. And then you look at Ole Miss, Alabama. Alabama might be a little high. I don't know. It's pretty interesting. I think right now they're like number 3 or 4, EJ, in the SEC odds-wise. Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting, actually, coaches poll aside. Florida is under Louisville. They're under Missouri, EJ. We're under the Missouri Tigers this year. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this. I'll let you take this segment away. I think that's despicable, in my opinion.
Well, first of all, Missouri does have Austin Simmons, the Ole Miss quarterback. So he's pretty good.
He didn't look great though in those first few games, though. He looked okay.
Yeah, but they're like, well, Drunkowitz, he's more experienced. So they're gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Plus, I feel like we always lose to Missouri. And then this is how it works. How did you finish the year before is going to determine where you're ranked in the preseason, because remember that Napier year where he won 4 in a row, last year we started number 17 in the coaches poll. And we were all like, "Oh, we're so good. We're going to make the playoff." And then we went 4-8 and got beat by USF and didn't even score a touchdown in the whole freaking game. We got like 8 field goals or whatever it was. That's an embarrassment. But anyway, it's this, the 27th isn't bad. I I I put on there, I'm happy they left us off. We need to be humbled. We need to be hungry. We need to be able to want to fight. Okay? Unrank us. Put all the pressure on these other teams that have to play us, and let's see what happens. But it is kind of interesting, though. Ohio State's like always going to be number 1. Oregon's up there. They got Oregon number 2. It is kind of surprising to see Alabama that far back. I don't remember a preseason poll not seeing them at least in the top 10. So I'm sure their fans are upset about that. But I like being unranked, and it says a lot that we're not ranked, but we're like, you go 3-0, you're probably going to be ranked.
100%. Kenny said, I'm okay where they have the coach ranked. They hyped up Napier last year. Look where that got us. Yeah, you're not lying. I mean, Josh Pate had us in the playoff, all those things, right? So, yeah, I totally agree. And an 8-4 team landing in the bottom, late, kind of lower 20s and lower, lower teens, whatever. Like, I kind of understand that. But yeah, no, I agree. Alabama, I think they're looking at that quarterback battle, EJ. Who's gonna come out of that? Is it gonna be Mac? Is it that's gonna be very fascinating to see. All right, let's go ahead and move on now. We're gonna go to go ahead.
Well, this next one kind of shows you real quick. It's interesting because it's like the coaches poll has a 27, but when you look at some of these rankings, like the ESPN FPI has this number 18. And what's the SP plus? I gotta look at that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it Standard and Poor's? I don't know. Maybe
I
something
believe
like
so. I think that's the acronym. Yeah.
Yeah, like rankings or something. I don't know. They got us number 19. So we'll see what happens. FPI is usually pretty accurate though. Like if you go on the ESPN app and it says, okay, this team has a 40% chance to win, that's what this ranking is. So like whoever's number 1 typically will always, win against the field typically. And then that's how they rank it. So for us to be 18th, that means on a neutral field, there's only 17 teams that FPI would say would beat us. So, I think that's pretty, it's interesting data.
Yeah, no, 100%. Wolf, I believe is your name, said Florida will be felt next year. The strength and conditioning will be a huge factor along with excellent coaching. Hope so, man. I agree. I think that this is a Florida team that's not going to make an instant, and because look, you could do the Lane Kiffin thing, bring in 95 transfers, or do what Alex Golesh is doing, right? Try to make it hit. Do what, Signetti did. But what, and obviously that it shows that you can win that way. But I think what Summerall is doing is he's doing a nice mix between bringing in these transfers that he needs to bring in, EJ, but at the same time really building a foundational roster. I think it's gonna definitely go well for the Gators and be more of a build up for sure into next year. I think once again we go 8-4, EJ, maybe 9-3 this year. Next year's gonna look, fucking amazing, bro. Like genuinely, right? You're in a really, really good place. We haven't really looked at the schedule next year, because I think next year it's a brand new group of teams, right? Or is it the same teams flipped? I think the same teams flipped. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay, it's the same teams just flipped, I guess. But hopefully we don't get I guess we're gonna get Texas again, which is I don't understand that. Dude, we, by the way, play Texas like how many times now in a row? Is it 3 years in a row now? What are we doing? Anyway, but yeah, so the SP Plus, like I said, I don't know exactly what it stands for, but I know it's the ESPN one that they do, and it's based on like analytics and stuff. 19th in the country, and one thing that you looked at, EJ, is the projected SP Plus is 12th defense in the country, and one thing that's fascinating is like you said right here, the model bias because of that defense. And Brad White is more of an umbrella defensive guy, right? He's a guy who doesn't like to give up big plays. Now, there's pros and cons with that, right? I mean, the pros is, yeah, it's a more you're going to kind of give up a lot of, not a lot of yards, but you're going to give up a little bit, of the offense is going to have to go down the field, and they're going to be forced to make plays in dire situations. So that defense is great to have, EJ, if the offense needs to score. Now, if the offense doesn't need to score, then umbrella defense isn't going to do shit for you, right? Because they're going to play safe, and the fact that they don't need to score means that they've been moving the ball on that defense. And so that's kind of it's going to be very situationally based. Good news is you have a great offense to complement that defense, EJ. At least from what we can assume with Buster Faulkner and this talented group that we have on that side of the ball. So this defense should bode well. But how this defense is going to play, EJ, is going to be it's going to be based on how the offense is performing, because it can be great or it can bite you in the ass. Now, one thing I was looking at is Brad White. And I was looking at his like best years compared to his worst kind of at Kentucky. Now his best year was 2022 to 2023. Now if you look at 2022, you're sitting at around 11th in the country on yards allowed and the 20th best defense in the country. Now what's interesting is he did that with the 26th best talent, like national talent ranking on the 24/7 composite talent ranking list in the country. So they were 26 in the country. Now go to what he's inheriting at Florida. That's from 26 all the way to 12. So he has the 12th most talented roster, especially kind of in totality, including the defense in the country going into this season, EJ. And then, so at Kentucky, 0 5-stars, at Florida 4. At Kentucky, 26 4-stars, at Florida 48. So this is a way better team, a way more talented team. And if he was able to do that, EJ, against SEC competition with a less talented roster, imagine what he's going to do with Florida with more toys to play with. And so I think there's a lot of great things to take from it. I wasn't huge on when Brad White got hired. You know that. I wasn't massive on it. But I do think that there's a lot of data that can back up some success here with the Florida Gators.
Yeah, and when you said that, we looked up the 22-23 Brad White Kentucky versus the Gators. Okay, remember we had Anthony Richardson, who beat Utah, and we all thought we were going to the national championship. Spoiler alert: we had to play Will Levis in Kentucky, and they beat us 26-16. Okay, and they pretty much shut us down. So now a couple teams shut us down that year, but to your point, they didn't really give up any big plays for Anthony Richardson. He was 14 of 35 passing in the game. We had 279 total yards. They held us to 136 rushing yards. And Richardson had 2 interceptions. I think he had 1 return for a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. It was like
I think you're right.
It's like a crazy fumble, something return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And it was, hey, that's a Brad White defense. The thing that the Brad White defense banks on is they don't want to give up a lot of big plays, which is why they do the umbrella. So they force you to dink and dunk. And by forcing you to dink and dunk, they're forcing you to run more plays, right? And the more plays you run, the more chances you have to make a mistake and drop the ball, throw it to the wrong team. And then now we got the ball back. So that's kind of his philosophy. But I love what you said about the talent difference. Like, it's one thing to do that type of defense when you do that because you don't have the talent to be a little bit more aggressive, right? So it'll be interesting to see now that he's got more talent. Is he going to be a little bit more aggressive? Or, if you ran an umbrella defense, what's the best thing? An umbrella defense with 3 all-star pass rushers. Because then the offense is screwed. Because it's like you can't throw because they got 8 people in coverage, and these 3 guys are getting in and sacking me so if he can find a way to create some havoc with a 3 to 4 man rush, I think he might have something. He might have. Let's watch the FAU game. If FAU is just going up and down the field on us, I'm going to be a little bit worried. But I also remember, was it the defensive coordinator from that we had a couple years, Grantham, I think was his name.
Mhm.
And then we've had like three different defensive coordinators under Napier. Can't keep them straight, you know. Wait, who was the last one that we had with Napier? Do you
Uh,
remember? I We had three different ones, so it's like it gets confusing to me.
yeah, I don't know.
But
I don't
anyway,
remember.
the thing with Grantham was he was terrible the first quarter, second quarter, but like as the game went on, he started to figure some things out. Um, I think with Scott, I think he's gonna start the game with a plan to stop you, and maybe that'll help us not get behind because we can't really the way that Faulkner runs offense, you can't really play from behind. You always have to like
Mm-hmm.
be within one score. Because if you get down two scores and it forces Faulkner to open up the playbook, now you're screwed because now you got to throw and you got a guy that can't throw. So, well, we don't know if they can. I mean, Trammell can throw,
You have a game manager back there is what you're saying, not a
right?
playmaker, right?
Right. Like we like Philo. I like Philo. We'll see what he can do.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying if we get down 14, 15 points, 17 points to and it could happen. You go on the road to Auburn, bing bang boom, you're down 14 and it's like, okay, Philo, get in there and throw a deep bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's an interception. You never know. So you can't get down when you have a guy that can't open it up. So that I like where you went with that. So that was just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I agree in totality. Ron Roberts, yeah, that's who it was because you had Austin Armstrong, Ron Roberts, you had
Ron
Patrick
Roberts,
Tony.
yeah, that's what it was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, Patrick Tony, Todd Grantham. Those were the past few defensive coordinators. It's been wild. Hope he goes man press. I love man press. That's the thing though about what Brad White likes to run though. You're not going to probably, I don't know. He might come to Florida, EJ, totally different and play his, I mean, but when he's talking about in his press conference, he just did a press conference not too long ago. Actually I have it open right here. Yeah, about 4 days ago. He talked about how he wants to play, kind of the umbrella type. There's a lot of comments regarding that, so expect that. So might not see too much press. We'll see what happens. Now, going into the lines this season, EJ, these first few games that we were kind of talking about, right? You have Florida Atlantic, Campbell, and then at Auburn. So Florida Atlantic, the line's opening up, EJ, at minus 26.5 for Florida points-wise. We opened up at 25.5, so they're giving us that extra point. Let's go, baby. That's probably Dallas Wilson being healthy. But yeah, no, I think that's definitely a pretty good number. I think we could probably definitely cover that. And we'll get into who FAU is in a little bit. They have an interesting thing that can definitely cause problems, right? Returning quarterback, air raid offense. We'll get to that in a little bit. And then we have Campbell, the Campbell Camels over here, EJ. September 12th, 5:30. Love these night games, by the way. No lines been posted yet because they're FCS. They're looking at around 42 points, though. And then at Auburn is the big one. Auburn favored at 1.5, EJ. But it's a pick 'em, baby. It's pretty much a 50-50 at this point. We'll see what happens. I don't mind that we're not favored there because you are going to Jordan Hare. It's a brand new, a brand new coaching staff as well. So I see how there's gonna be a lot of energy there, and man, I'm so excited to go, man. We're going to that game. It's gonna be amazing.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for the Auburn. So get your money in quick if you think we're going to beat Auburn because these lines can change.
Especially since they play, was it Baylor week 1? And so
yeah, they play Baylor.
Yeah.
And guess who's on the Baylor team? That's my DJ. Go DJ. Y'all remember him? Okay, so he's playing for Baylor, and they're going to play Auburn. So we're going to be able to see if what we're dealing with here. Even though Golish they beat Lagway last year, so that'll be interesting. So here's the thing. I the FAU score is supposed to be like 41-14 is what they're basically. So I really do think we're going to need to put up like 45 points for me to be like, we got something going on here. And you don't need to be, there's a different way that you put up 40 something points.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it with it total team effort. Like Indiana. When you watch them, now not saying we're going to be Indiana, but I'm just saying they score a lot of points because it's not just their offense. They score a lot of points because their offense can score, and then when you get the ball, it's 3 and out immediately. Then they block the punt, and then they score again, and then you get the ball 3 and out. They score, and it's 21, and it's like 21 points. The whole team contributes to scoring. When it's us, last year, how many interceptions did our defense get? Like 3 the whole season, 4. We like the year before we were getting interceptions. So if you're not getting interceptions, you're not getting turnovers, your special teams is trash. You can't punt. When you punt, it goes out of bounds 10 yards. The other team gets the ball in good field position, which means they're going to have the ball for a long time. You can't, your scoring comes down. Last year, we didn't even score 26 points a game, and that's how much we're favored to beat FAU by. So it's got to be a total team effort when it comes to scoring points. And that's what I'm going to be looking at in this FAU game. Does the defense help the offense score? The special teams, we got this new punter they named him he's on a watch list. Okay, punt that ball all the way down there so that the other team doesn't have it at midfield the whole game. So that's what we got to do. And wait, who's the field goal kicker? Because we had a really good one the last couple of years, and he was the only reason we were even in some of the games
Trey,
we were playing.
Mr. Trey Smack back there smacking the ball. But now we got the new guy coming in from Tulane as well. But both the Tulane, guys, the punter and the kicker, both those guys were named. Was it what conference are they in? Is it the AAC or Sun Belt? I think the AAC, right, or Sun Belt, whatever they are. They got named first team for the special teams. Another thing, and we just brought in a special team coach. Don't know the guy's name off the top of my head, EJ, but he was a special teams coordinator over with the New Orleans Saints and won them a Super Bowl. Was that back in 2010 or whenever they won with Drew Brees? And so this guy is a very experienced special teams coordinator, worked with John Summerall for a couple years. And so I believe at Tulane, or 1 year at Tulane, and has came out of retirement like 3-4 times now. This is a special teams guy that knows his shit, that knows what he's doing, and understands the significance of a good special teams unit. I think special teams is great. I love a coach that's putting an emphasis on special teams, unlike Billy Napier. And we got someone coming in here, EJ, that because I feel like we didn't even have a special teams coach, right? Did we not have a special teams coach for a while? So we finally got one. And it seems like a couple actually, and it seems like we're putting an emphasis on that. So we'd love to see that.
Yeah, breath of fresh air. We didn't have special teams or an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Like how that? No wonder we were going, and Napier was trying to do it all.
Yeah. Yep.
No wonder we had 3 guys with the same jersey on the field, and then you didn't know how to call any plays on offense. So now at least we have someone whose full-time job is that now. So I thank you, Summerall.
Exactly, 100%. Now, just some little things here, just some lines before we actually get into the 3 games, EJ. Some of the lines here. The win total is 7.5. We kind of talked about that a few weeks ago. Our thoughts on that. National title odds, EJ. We're looking at plus 600 or 6,000 on the national title odds.
Hey,
so
put the money. Put this in. Hey, I'll put 100 on that.
Damn straight. Make some money, baby, for sure. A lot of money. And then you got the win total, like I said, 7.5. SEC titles plus 2,500. Make the playoff plus 400, which is an interesting number. Very fascinating. And the national title plus 6,000. The plus 400 is not bad, EJ, to make the playoff. What are your thoughts on that? That's
so there's an implied, so with these ratings, there's an implied probability is what they call it. So the implied probability of making the playoff is 20%, which, hey, that means if we were in an alternate universe and they gave you like a hat with five little, balls in there, and then you pull one out, one of the 5 is going to be the Gators are in the playoff. That's the universe that you're going to go to. Can you believe that? I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. Now, obviously, there's like 12 teams that make the playoff, so you got to be in the top 12. I think it's doable. I think it's doable.
100%. Pretty fascinating. Pretty fascinating. EJ, are you gonna put money on the 7.5 or no?
So
Do it, EJ. Do
is
it. Do
40
it.
is there to be under. So here's the thing with that. So to be under, they're saying it's a 58% chance that we're under 7.5. There's a 40, what's the inverse of that? 42% chance that we're over 7.5. So it's really 8 if you think about, like, so are we going to go 8-4 or not? That's basically what the market is saying. So I 7-5 is actually a really great
Yep.
prediction. Like, if
Hmm.
you wanted to say we're going to go 7-5, I think that's a great prediction. Because 4-8 implies that we like lose the FAU and FSU, or one of those two, right?
Hmm.
So I don't know. What did we say last week? Did we say 8-4? I think I went 8-4.
You
So
went eight
over.
and four. I went seven
Yeah.
and five, I believe. Yeah, so I went 7 and 5.
Okay.
So I took the under. You went the over. But once again, though, like that difference is one coin flip game. That's one game that goes our way.
Yeah.
And that game I think was the Oklahoma game. I think we talked about that. I think I was like, I don't really know,
Ooh.
which we're hopefully going to go to as well, alongside the Auburn game. But yeah, I mean, which by the way, both those games are those coin flip games. Man, I think Oklahoma's going to be a very, very good team, but you're coming to the Swamp late in the year. It's going to be hot. You know, it's going to be rocking. Oklahoma's coming off of a fucking terrible SEC gauntlet. By the way, that stretch of games, their schedule is one of the hardest schedules I've seen in a long time. I think they have the number 1 or number 2 hardest schedule, and then you go to the Swamp. So I think that's going to be tough. And then you have the Auburn game, right? Toss up. And then you got Ole Miss coming to the Swamp early on. If we beat Auburn, then Ole Miss is going to be coming into a swamp of momentum. New coach, 3-0, probably going to be ranked number 15 in the country. And maybe not that high. Maybe like 20 or something. It's going to be rocking, man. So, yeah, I'm excited. So, I agree. I think that's a really good line, and I might put money on it just to I don't know, give some even more motivation. But yeah, I'm thinking 7-5. But we'll do an actual schedule prediction and stuff. Go game by game. It might change our minds. We'll do that maybe even next week, man. Just stay in touch there. Also, 10 people watching right now. Make sure you guys hit that little like button, man. We only got 3. That really helps us out. All right, let's go ahead and dive into these first 3 games, EJ.
Yeah, and Kenny is already on top of it.
Yeah, there you go. FAU got a great offense, and look at that right here. We're going to talk about that. FAU is literally the most experienced team we see in September. Literally the most experienced, EJ. They got the 19th in returning production nationally. They have the only FBS team in the country, by the way, returning its entire staff and its starting quarterback. It sounds better than 5-5 the last few seasons. That's true. 5-7, yeah. So yeah, EJ, this is a dirty little team, and it's something we talked about, right? Everyone's kind of going into this game. Oh, okay, we got Campbell FCS, it's FAU. What the hell? This is a team that is they're in FBS. They're not FCS. They're an FBS team. They're in a conference that has a lot of talent. And something we talked about, EJ, is now in the era of the transfer portal, you have guys that are former 4-stars, guys that are former high 3-stars that were playing at premier SEC and Big Ten and big schools and premier schools that now went down to a lower school for playing time, EJ. So this is a serious team. And look, this is also what I love about it is, this quarterback they have is, look at this, 3,600 passing yards, EJ. That's 3rd nationally per game. This guy was dirty as hell, this quarterback for this team that's coming back. And on top of that, they're obviously, according to that, they're an air raid team. They're going to be throwing the ball over the place, which is a great, and something that Kenny said, it is a great measuring stick for the defense. This secondary, EJ, that we have a lot of questions about, this defense overall, what are they going to look like? We're going to find out. We're going to find out. And yeah, obviously we are focusing on the score and everything like that, but I'm really, really curious down by down how we're going to do. They had 20 interceptions that they threw in 2025, EJ, right? So you take a look at the interceptions. How is that going to play, right? Is our defense going to go out there and take advantage of that, right? Because obviously a quarterback can take a step forward, but he's been rattled in the past. Can we rattle him going forward?
Yeah, this is and Kenny was right on the money with, they're got a lot of returning production. Here's the crazy stat. So FAU is the only FBS team in the country. Listen to this stat. FAU is the only FBS team in the country returning both its entire coaching staff and starting quarterback. That's crazy. That's crazy when you think about it. Like, so no other team returned their entire coaching staff and the starting quarterback. Well, we didn't do both, right? We lost. We turned over both. So so continuity is definitely there with this team, meaning they're not going to be showing up with any. Well, what plays do we run? Who does the quarterback need to get a feel for the game? No, they're going to come in. Hey, this is what we do. This is who we are. This is our plan. Attack. And so, and meanwhile, we're going to be like, well, our defensive scheme is new. Our head coach is new. This is the very first game of the season. He's got pressure on him. They're spending $30 million. You know, uh, we got to look good, or there's no hope for the rest of that. So we got some pressure on us, right? And like I said, the FAU game to me is the most important game of the season. And I say that because I like the fact it's not FCS. They're an FBS team that is, they're not the best FBS team, non Power Five, Group of Five team, but their level of competition is going to be something that's going to give us something to think about in the opening game. And, so they've got 19th overall in their turning, production in terms of, stats. And then the defense is 14th. So now the defense, they gave up 36 points a game last year. So, I mean, there are some teams that were steamrolling them. But when you look at the games they lost, the games that they were in, the other team's defense really couldn't stop this Velt Camp dude. He was just throwing the ball all over the place. When teams can't get pressure, they can't defend short, quick passes. Mm-hmm. They were on the field. You couldn't get them off the field. So it'll be interesting to see, the strategy that, our offense or defense comes out with to try to defend this. But I think it's also a great warm up to the Auburn situation, because y'all know Auburn is going to do the same thing. They're going to spread you out, quick pass, run with the quarterback. So, I think that'll be really good. But, with FAU, the one thing I want to see is a total team effort, and we need to force 2 turnovers with our defense. If we can turn them over twice, give the offense a short field, or do a pick 6. When's the last time we've done a pick 6? I feel like every time I turn on Ohio State or Indiana or somebody, it's a pick 6. Like I maybe it's just me, but when I turn on the TV, they do a pick 6. I haven't seen a pick since freaking. I remember we played Missouri like 10 years ago, and we did back-to-back pick 6s. That was the last time I seen it happen. So listen, we need an interception. We need get a fumble, get the ball to your offense, get it to ball, pound it in the game early.
I agree. It's not a team that you just go in and just beat. So I agree, man. Turnovers would be massive. Something we haven't seen in the past, and something I love to see with this new Brad White defense. I'm with you, baby. Now, obviously, we got Campbell Camels. We don't got to spend too much time on this, CJ. They went 2-10 last year. They suck. 4 returning starters on defense. They're 8th in the CAA preseason poll for their conference. That's good.
That's middle of the pack.
Not too shabby. FCS Braxton Harris, year 3, 15-19 overall. I mean, yeah, look, they got a little quarterback battle going on. They have a UMass transfer coming in. Is his name really Six Killer? If so, that's insane.
Yeah, Six Killer. Yeah.
That's what a name, dude. So yeah, look, highest CAA preseason spot since they joined in 2023, EJ. So Braxton Harris has this team rolling with the Camels, man. I mean, look, yeah, nothing too crazy. We don't got to spend a lot of time on this other than something that we just want to see, right, is a full team effort like you were saying, EJ. We need to see an offensive effort. We need to see a defensive effort. I want to see no turnovers in this kind of game. I want to see efficient football. I want to see balanced football. I'd also want to come out of these 2 games, something we haven't touched on yet, but something we need to do, EJ, come out of both of these games healthy. That's it. Come out of them healthy. No big injuries. You can be beat up a little bit. It's going to happen. Come out of these 2 games healthy. Go in there, do your thing, and that's all I really care about. And hopefully, after these 2 games, EJ, another thing, how are the quarterbacks looking? Because these 2 games are going to be telling us who the hell is going to be starting against Auburn. Even though we do think that Aaron Philo is going to get the nod in the first game against FAU, maybe even this game as well, This is Tramel Jones' opportunity to go out there and dominate. Maybe he's an in-game guy, not a practice guy. I don't know. We'll see. But these two games, we haven't touched on, EJ. I'd love to hear your opinion on it. We're going to tell a lot about the quarterback situation. We had 556 in here said Woods is going to be a monster. Hell yeah, he is. What's funny is they were talking, I believe John Summerall had his press conference the other day, EJ, and he was talking about it, and I believe he brought up Jaden Woods. He wasn't even asked about Jaden Woods. He just brought him up and was like, yeah, Jaden Woods is going to come out here, dominate, and he's a guy who he said is just a team guy, great leader, and he's like, that dude is scary, and he says he goes 100 on every single play, and that just gets me hyped. We saw how good he was last season. Imagine now, EJ, after a year of development and being on the field, he played a lot last year, coming out here, man, wearing number 0. Watch out for Jaden Woods, baby.
Yeah, I mean, 556 said it right. I mean, here's the deal. Woods, remember, he was like, he was in the transfer portal for a little bit. And I was low-key panicking because I was like, guys, the two most important positions for us, quarterback and defensive pass rusher. That number one. You know why? Because if you can't rush the passer, you have no hope. You have no hope. The other teams are just going to run up and down the field on you. So, yeah, Camden Six Killer. That's the guy's name. Okay? That's the quarterback.
That's so
all right?
Cool.
Now, hopefully it doesn't kill us for 6. Hey, you see what I did there? Yeah, he's going to kill us for 6. Now, Jaden Woods has anything to say about it.
Yeah.
Now, if Jaden Woods got anything to say about it. So, listen. This is a great game after FAU because FAU is a little bit higher competition. We're gonna have to bring the hammer, and then the Campbell Soups. You can just kind of, implement some changes that you saw that needed to be made from the FAU without stressing out if you're gonna win, and then carry that over to the Auburn game. Some momentum. So that's really what I'm looking for. 6 killer. Hopefully he doesn't kill us for 6 with the passing. And Jaden Woods, hopefully he doesn't even need to play that much, to be honest with you, in this game. But if he's a true game changer, like I feel like he will be, that is going to be such a... Y'all remember, who is the guy that played for Grantham? Grantham always had somebody coming off the edge. We had Ja'Kai Polite. Grenard. It is such a game-changing element to the game when you just have one guy that can come off that edge and light you up, that the offense always has to be mindful of. And Kentucky has had a couple of guys like that under Brad White.
Yeah.
So he's not, that's a key part of his game plan. So hopefully we can do that. And, I like how the schedule sets up. Solid opponent who's not too good, but also not terrible in FAU. And then a warm-up game to correct your fixes before you go, or the things that you need to fix before you go to Auburn.
Great point. That's a great point. And speaking of Auburn, EJ, let's just go right over to it, man. Auburn, we play them week 3. Me and EJ and our boy's going to be there as well. All 3 of us, man. We're going to have to... I've never seen Auburn. Actually, that's a lie. I was there for the Gator walk and like the tailgating for the 2019 game when we kicked their ass in the swamp with the Michael P. run to the right side, EJ.
Oh,
the
2
missed tackles.
Freddie Swain.
Yes, sir. In the Freddie Swain game, Kyle Trask out there throwing dots. I think he got hurt, right? Yeah, he got out for a little bit. Emory Jones came in. God, what a time. Feels like forever ago. 7 years ago, man. But Auburn, listen, they're returning 3 starters in the entire team, EJ, because Alex Golish came in this thing, brought his entire USF school. Entire group. Which, we can sit here and talk shit on, but they beat us last year. Literally everyone, Davenport, the 2 running backs, obviously Byron Brown as well, who's just an absolute monster. The only FBS quarterback, EJ, in 2025 to throw over 3,000 yards and over 1,000 yards on the ground. So this dude's just a monster. Look, it's a very transfer portal heavy team, EJ. A lot of these guys, like I said, he's bringing over from USF. He did do a pretty good job in the transfer portal, bringing in some other key guys from other spots. I know you talked about the offensive line. which I believe is mentioned on here. For yeah, 0 offensive linemen for Auburn, but once again, they brought over everyone from USF, and on top of that, they are some nice little guys they brought in the transfer portal from different places. So, thing is, transfer portal's scary. We talked about that, EJ. We've seen it in college football where it works, and then times where it just looks like a team that's not organized. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Now, the difference with this one is he's bringing over a lot of the same guys. So, a lot of these same guys, EJ, know the system. It's going to be implemented very, very quickly, but you're jumping up a lot from obviously the group of 5 to the power 4. Now, Kurt Signetti did the same thing though when he came over from James Madison and brought over the guys to Indiana, EJ. So you got to also take a look at that and be like, it worked in the past. So it's tough. We're not going to, I would say we're going to know a good amount, obviously, of Auburn. They play Baylor. I think they have a shitty game. Then they play us. So kind of, a little bit similar, except obviously Baylor's a lot better than FAU. So we're going to know what Auburn is week 1 very, very quickly. I think they play Baylor in Atlanta for, I think it's the Chick-fil-A kickoff, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see what happens. Very interested, EJ. Give me your thoughts on this game going in this one. Kenny said, who do you guys think is the quarterback is going to be for the Auburn game? I think it's Jones. I have literally no clue. The first 2 games, EJ, I would love to hear your opinion on this as well if you want to answer that.
Oh, well, I put it on a slide earlier. The Auburn game is not the game you want to go play where you need to figure out who the hell your quarterback is. Okay? It's not the game. And now it'd be different if you were like Ohio State, who has a world-class defense, and you're kind of like, okay, well, we can stop them. They're not going to score on us, and then we got time to figure out the quarterback. We don't have that. Okay? And one of the issues with the schedule is I like how it sets up, but it also doesn't test you enough perseverance, resilience for you to know, okay, if let's say we put Philo as the starter, are we going to have significant pushback with FAU and Campbell to where we are even thinking about putting Trammell in? And if we do, then maybe that's a good thing. But if we do, then that's also kind of bad that you as the head coach and the offensive coordinator started a guy who you immediately had to bench after 2 games of playing FAU and the Campbell Soups. It's kind of like, well, what are you guys looking at when you're practicing? That you had to take this guy out and put this guy in. You should just start with the guy that had to come in. So that's my issue with the whole quarterback thing. With Auburn, it's an interesting storyline because Golish beat us in the swamp last year with the same quarterback.
And same team, pretty much.
And pretty much the same team. Now, obviously, I blame Napier because Napier has no clue what he was doing. He had no idea how to change offensive scheme or have a strategy to win a game. We were just out there going through the ropes, going through the motions. Summerall at least has a plan. Okay, so let's give him that. The interesting thing about that game is we had like 3 touchdowns. I was standing right there because, my nephew plays for USF. I was standing right there. We had 3 touchdowns called back, and I'm like, what the hell are we doing? And it didn't even look like a penalty, by the way. It's just the refs, being refs. But anyway, Summerall was also, so Golish beat us last year with the same team. Summerall was also rumored to be Auburn's leading candidate, right? Until somehow he came with us. And neither of these teams are going to have their starting quarterback from last year. Now, Auburn opens up with Baylor and Southern Miss, which is a little bit more of a challenging schedule than us. So the benefit for Auburn, well, it's actually a much more challenging schedule. The benefit to Auburn is going to be they're going to be a little bit more tested. So their starting quarterback, wait, who's going to be their starting quarterback? I need to look that up. Whoever it is Byron Brown. Sorry. Yeah. Byron Brown is going to be a lot more tested than whoever we throw out there. And he already is because, he played a whole season last year and they were pretty good. So I think the challenge for us will be if the FAU team is able to move the ball and have any consistency, that's a problem for us going into that Auburn game, because Auburn's offense is going to be high octane, spread the balls. Literally, they have like one guy standing on the sideline and another guy standing on the other. That they're going to spread you completely out.
Mm-hmm.
And then Byron Brown is going to, okay, quick pass or run up the middle. And so it's like 4 or 5 yards every time. And
It's
so
gonna
you
have to
have to have
tackle.
yeah, you got to be able to tackle when you play Auburn. So if we're playing FAU and they're breaking tackles and we don't know, we have to make an adjustment. And then the other thing is, I think I like our linebackers. I think they're going to have, Miles Graham. I think he's going to be able to be a good leader for the defense and, get us lined up, call it, do we know the play, formation, and, I think that'll be helpful. So I'm not too worried about that. But I do think the Auburn game, I can see why I can see why it's a coin flip, because I think Auburn is just getting the advantage because they're playing at home. I think if this game was in the Swamp, it would probably be Florida like -4, -5 if it was in the Swamp. But because it's at Auburn, it's the third game of the year. We don't really know what's going on with either team. Auburn could get blown out by DJ Lagway and Baylor, and then next thing you know, we're favored against them. So though that first game of the year, that September 5th game, that's going to be the game that's going to tell us everything we need to know about this matchup.
100%, 100%. So I agree. We're gonna figure it out pretty quick. But yeah, tackling is gonna be massive in that game. This Auburn team is no joke. Like you said, the way that they spread you out, I mean, literally, the linebackers are going to be tested. The discipline of the defensive line is going to be tested, EJ, and the safeties and the corners on the outside, the secondary. I mean, they're going to have to cover all 50 yards from one side to the other. So it's going to be very, very fascinating.
And one more thing about Auburn, we want to talk a lot about their offense, because obviously Golish and Brown, and I know the Auburn fans are excited about their offense, but it's really their defense that is going to be pretty good. They got Xavier Atkins running around terrorizing people. He had 17 tackles for loss, okay, which I think that was the most in the SEC. Like you get like a tackle and a half for loss a game or something, whatever that was. And then he also had 10 sacks. So they already got their guy that's terrorizing quarterbacks. Then the kicker, McPherson, I wonder if that is the same. I don't think they're related because
it is that's his younger brother.
Okay, so they got McPherson, the younger brother of the McPherson that we used to have, and this guy doesn't miss. He makes everything. So here's the deal. If it's close, like a 1-point game, and one of us got a kick, we better hope it's and nowadays, I don't know what's with these kickers. Maybe it's they're eating protein all the time. What's it called when they're on tren or whatever it is?
Yep, some D-ball.
They're juiced, because back in the day, I remember a 40-yard field goal used to be like moving mountains. Now these people are kicking 50-yard field goals like they're extra points. We played LSU. The guy was kicking field goals he was like in the red zone, making field. So I said, listen, I don't know what's gotten into these kickers, these legs, but maybe everyone's from Australia. I don't know. They're like kicking around, playing with the kangaroos. Because, the kangaroos got these strong legs that you can kick really hard.
It's true.
Maybe
they
that's,
are part kangaroo. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, kangaroo DNA is in these kickers.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's up with that, but they're making 50-yard field goals like it's nothing. So I'd like to see our kicker make a kick like that. So that's going to be Auburn's defense is actually pretty good. Their offense is going to be pretty good. We just got to be better.
100%. No, you're not lying. And also some of the transfers they brought in, EJ, not from USF, for that defensive line. Like one thing that Alex Golish did do a very good job at, and you can kind of overlook it by the amount that he brought from USF, is he's beefing up the offense and defensive line. He understands that the trenches need to be beefed up, and so you're going to see some big boys down there, big body guys, guys with a lot of experience in the SEC, Big Ten. So just keep an eye out for that. Goalish did not play when it came to beefing up the trenches, and so you're going to see that when we play them. They're not going to be small USF guys. They're going to be big boys in there. So something to keep an eye on. 556 said, I like Jones for quarterback 1. He's more mobile and believe in the smart play when Philo loves big plays over smart ones. So that's the thing, 556. It's almost the opposite in a way with what they're telling us. They're saying Philo just understands the offense more, and they're saying that he is less likely to make mistakes and turn the ball over. But they say that Trammell has a higher ceiling, that he will make those big plays. I feel like the problem with Philo is I don't think Philo's arm is as good as Trammell's. I just feel like the ball comes out of Trammell's arm way, way better, EJ. I don't know if you have an opinion on this, but I don't think they showed the spring game online. I think they might have. But anyway, I was there in person, and the deep ball from Jones looks like a Chris Leak ball, bro. It is just pretty. It's a spiral every single time. He had the crossing route, which I believe was to Micah Mays, if I'm not mistaken. He had a go route for another beautiful ball. Like, he just understands how to connect with these guys. And so yeah, I like Trammell because I think he's more consistent on the deep balls, while Philo overthrew 3 guys in that game, which I'd rather have a guy underthrow me, EJ, to give him an opportunity to catch it. But I think Philo understands the offense better, and he's a lot more consistent in not turning the ball over. That's what we're hearing. So it just depends on what Buster Faulkner wants to see, right? That's really what it comes down to. And we talked about this last week, 556, or 2 weeks ago in our last live. You can go check that one out too. But we dive deeper into it, into the quotes and stuff from SEC Media Days and from Summerall and from Buster. And from what it sounds like is John Summerall and Buster Faulkner are saying that they want consistency out of the quarterback. And if that holds true, and there is that does stay consistent, you're most likely going to see Philo get the nod because, number one, he's more familiar with the offensive scheme, and number two, because he's just more consistent and doesn't really, while he might not have a higher ceiling than Trammell, he has a way higher floor than Trammell. And so that's kind of where we're at with the quarterback battle. So we'll see. It's going to be, like I said, in these games, I don't think that Trammell's going to beat out Philo in fall camp, but I do think he has an opportunity to beat out Philo in these 2 games, EJ, with FAU and with Campbell. Because I think if Trammell comes out here in front of the fans, we're not talking about the scrimmages behind closed doors. We're talking about on the field, in the swamp, lights up, everything. If Trammell goes out there and outperforms Philo, you got to give the nod to Trammell, I feel like, right? Scrimmages are a different story. That's why I think you're going to see Philo probably, in my opinion, EJ, get the nod for the FAU game. But we'll see.
Yeah, like I said, I'm rooting for Jones too, because that's my last name too. So it's good to see a Jones out there.
Dude, a Jones jersey? Thing. You need to get a Trammell Jones jersey, bro.
Oh yeah. And number 17 is my number. Wait, is that his number too? I think so.
It was. Now he's number 9.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, second thoughts. Yeah. But anyway, kind of like what we were saying, this is what happened. So they, Summerall brought in Faulkner as OC, and he said, "Hey, who's the quarterback?" He said, "Well, I got this kid named Philo. He's really good. I really like him. He's going to be great." I said, "Okay, bring him on." Yeah, he's really good. He's going to be our starter. And then when they got to Gainesville, they saw this Trammell Jones kid who didn't transfer out say, "Hey, I'm still here. I'm about to sling this ball around." And they're like, "Oh, this kid can play. Like, what do we do? Who's going to be the starter?" Like, that's literally what happened. So now we're in a situation where they can't distinguish. Now they got the faith, they got the, the NIL, the this, that, and the other behind Philo. But I think you said it perfectly. Like, his floor is higher, but his ceiling is lower. And they feel like that's a little bit more consistency. The issue is going to be when you get into these games like Auburn, you cannot make mistakes. But when you make a mistake, you have to be able to overcome that mistake with a big play. Throw it deep down the field. One thing that Lagway could do, well, he did it great the year before. I don't know what the hell happened last year. He threw that deep ball like nobody's business. It was right on the money that one year. And last year, I don't know what was it, overthrowing people, not seeing the field. I don't know what's going on. But if Philo can't hit big plays, which is my criticism from him of the spring game, he wasn't hitting any big plays. It was all Trammell Jones. You have to make 2 or 3 big game-changing pass plays to win a game in the SEC. Unless your defense is like number one, Alabama style from Nick Saban years, you got to hit a big play so that your team can score. So if Philo can't do that, that's what I'm going to be looking for. What I would love to see, if they start Philo, what I would love to see is like the first or second play of that game, play action. I'm going deep. The first play of the game. Like, I would love to see that. Would give me chills. Even if he overthrew it. Just go deep on the first play. I don't even care. Put Dallas Wilson out there, VB3, and say, look, we're going fly. Y'all remember that? Old school. Little Giants. Okay? Go deep. You're faster than this is FAU. We run way faster than these kids. Deep. And play action the ball, because everyone thinks we're going to give him the ball first play. Go deep. And maybe he connects. Maybe he hits the pass. Who knows? But if he does, I'm sold. I'm sold on the first play. If we dink dunk, fumble the ball, and then FAU's got it, I'm like, you know what? This is the worst that could ever happen. Okay. So I'm thinking what's going to happen is there's not going to be enough resistance from FAU and Campbell to have us question Philo. Then when we get to the Auburn game, there is going to be resistance to question Philo. And then we're going to be screwed, because then they're going to say, well, now we got to bring in Jones, which is going to be a really bad situation, because Auburn's got like I said, they got a good defense.
100%. I mean, look, yeah. Also, that's another thing. The secondary for Auburn's going to be solid. USF, they had some guys out there last season, so just keep that in mind. Counting our boy, man. That's with the Detroit Lions right now. But yeah. So look, we're not trying to sit here and trash talk Philo. Like, that was one sample size that we got to see, right? We've seen him play a little bit at Georgia Tech in the past, but we've seen him once in a Florida Gator uniform. So maybe in these scrimmages we'll hear some great things. Maybe in his first 2 games we'll see him be more comfortable in this offense, CJ. We've seen massive jumps from spring to fall. I mean, even in the John Summerall experiment, what he's seen, right? When he was at Tulane, he saw Darian Mensah, right? The Miami quarterback right now that was at Duke last year that transferred from Tulane. He was a 3rd-string quarterback going into fall camp, EJ, was a starting quarterback for Tulane 2-3 years ago, whatever you want to call it now. And played really, really well to where he transferred, won the ACC championship, and then now went to Miami, right? So this is known as one of the biggest transfer quarterbacks behind the kid from Arizona State that went to LSU. And so look, I think that we're not trying to sit here, talk trash on Philo. I think he's a solid quarterback that can be very good for the Florida Gators. I'm just saying from what I've seen, the small sample size that we've seen, we'll see what happens. Either way, you're going to see both quarterbacks play his first 2 games, EJ, and hopefully we'll see what happens in game 3. It's going to tell a big, big story. 556 said, love Micah Mays Jr. Feel like people are sleeping on him just like they were VB3. I agree. Guy had a great, great game.
Yeah, he had a great spring game.
Dude, he was out there just dusting guys. The number 5 looks really, really clean. And it's weird because he's not like, I mean, he's got a good size to him, but he runs like a Dallas Wilson. He's quick, but he runs big. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. So yeah, he's a very nice physical speed guy out there. Really unique capabilities. Kenny said, look, I think that we'll be better prepared for Brown this year. Plus, this is the SEC. He might be hurt a little before playing us. Yeah, no, I love the mindset. We'll see. But I agree. I think it's like what EJ was saying earlier, and I think, or Kenny said it too. These guys, they don't forget last year. A lot of the same guys this year are the same guys that played last year, and they lost to USF when they came into the swamp, EJ. And so, look, I could see them going out there playing with there's history here. Florida Auburn, one of the oldest rivalries, right, for the Florida Gators, coming back now. First time we played them in 7 years. Last time we played them, we kicked their ass, right? So they're going to be angry. The Alex Golish and John Summerall kind of feud there, right? They wanted John Summerall, and John Summerall came to the Florida Gators. There is a nasty, nasty vibe going into this game, and it's the first SEC game for both teams. It's going to be with first-year coaches. It's literally a movie, EJ, and you had it right here. This one's personal, so I'm very excited, man. It's going to be a hell of a game. We'll go ahead and we'll move on, though. We got a lot of stuff still to get to. So yeah, it's just kind of us stacked up against all three here. The three games that we just talked
Yeah.
about. Coaches poll. All of them were unranked, which is pretty interesting. No one above 5 wins. Returning production, 29% of snaps. So you're looking at that for Auburn, which is 111th in the country. Florida Atlantic, the polar opposite of that, which is 19th nationally on returning production. And Campbell, not really much going on there with only 4 defensive starters returning. FPI, Auburn 22nd, though. So they were unranked in the coaching poll, 22nd FPI, with the SP Plus being outside of the top 25 for them. So we'll see. It's going to be really interesting, EJ, to see what happens. Like I said, man, these first 3 games, man, I'm so hyped because we're going to learn something from each and every one. It's going to be great. Going to be great. Keep moving on here. These are just the win probabilities, 96, 99% of Auburn, 52% with us at about 48%. So once again, nothing too crazy there. We kind of talked about the lines a little bit earlier. Now, we'll just kind of go through the depth chart a little bit here, EJ. With the offense, obviously we got Philo. We have Trammell, sitting right there with the 2 quarterbacks. No one's named the starter yet, but those are just the 2 guys. Running back, we got Jaden Ball. We got Pryor. We got a lot of guys back there that, the Eastern Carolina transfer, Duke Clark, they're Byron Lewis. We got a lot of guys back there that are going to be, running the ball for the Florida Gators. So the running back room is probably the deepest room we have, in my opinion, EJ. Like, it's actually really, really dirty. Wide receiver room, Dallas Wilson, Micah Mays, Eric Singleton, TJ Abrams, Vernell Brown III, Bailey Stockton. I mean, just a unit. Another great group of guys. And the offensive line, which is definitely, once again, kind of that toss-up group. Who's going to stand out? EJ, looking at the offense here in the depth chart, what are your thoughts? And everyone watching right now, you can go ahead and comment down below your thoughts on this group. I don't see any big negative here, any really bad group. The tight end group is not horrible because we also have the other tight end. I know you have Luke Harpering. There's the other tight end we got from Dupree as well for the 3rd string there. So the tight end group's also pretty deep there. Hopefully Amir Jackson can make a big jump forward. But overall, what are your thoughts here?
Well, there's one guy that knows Auburn on this depth chart, Eric Singleton. Okay. He used to play out there. So he's going to be playing with us now. So here's the deal. We got great wide receivers. And I think they each bring something unique to the position. Speed, elusiveness, hands. That's pretty much what you need. Dallas Wilson, I think, has a little bit of everything. He's like your, who's the wide receiver from Ohio State that was like dominant, that they kept throwing him the ball every 5 seconds and nobody could cover the guy.
He's on the, oh my God.
And I'm like, okay, double team. Like, what are you people doing? Anyway, that's what Dallas Wilson can bring to the table. And then you're like, oh crap, well, we got VB3 out here. Oh crap, you got Michael Mays out here. Oh crap, you got Singleton out here. I would love to see one of those guys emerge, but your hands are going to have to be important. One of the things that, I did see is some drop passes. Okay. So, guys, if the ball hits in your freaking hands and we got a new quarterback back there running for his life, you got to catch it. Okay. So that's going to be especially those deep balls. I remember, I think it was VB3 last year. I think it was the LSU game. Was the LSU game they screwed us where we caught the ball and they were like, no, it wasn't a catch.
That was
and
Georgia.
I'm like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, the Georgia game.
That was
I'm like, it was definitely a catch. And of course, when it's Georgia, it's not a catch. But if it was them, it would have been a catch. I mean, so anyway, I like the backfield, and I like the Buster Faulkner scheme, which is going to require the quarterback to be able to run. If not every time, but there has to be a threat of the quarterback running, which is another thing. I think 556 was talking about this. If Philo is just a sitting duck, guys, this is not going to work. He's got to be able to, at least something breaks down, hit it up the middle for 2-3 yards, get down, don't take a hit. Georgia Tech was, you couldn't get them off the field unless they turned it over because, they had this great offensive attack where power with the quarterback, handoff, quick pass, 2-3 yards every time. So that's what we're going to need to bring able to bring to the table. I like the offensive line. I think Ugorji is that I should have put the weights. Next time we do this, I'm going to put the weights
Yeah.
of, the height and the jersey number. Cuz like you said, everybody's jerseys numbers changed. But definitely going to be a new look offense. But the thing about our offense is it's going to make a lot more sense to people when you're watching it. It's going to capitalize off of mismatches that the defense presents you. We're not going to do this stupid alternative running back scheme that Napier ran where you had Ball running all over people, but just because you alternate running backs, he's not in the game the next drive. And I'm like, is he hurt? Is he worn down? Like what? Put the hot guy in the game and plow the road. Okay? And you don't have to worry about that with Faulkner. Now, I do like Pryor. Pryor came from Cincinnati. This kid is the perfect complement to Baugh. Okay? He's going to get out there. When he gets his hand on the ball, he can catch too. When he gets his hands on the ball, he's going to make a move and hit that hole. I'm telling you, they're going to be like, oh, crap, we didn't even practice for this guy. So he's going to be really good. I'd love to come out and see the scheme. I'd love to see the 3 wide receivers on the field at the same time. Having a dynamic tight end we've always been good as a Florida Gator team when we've had a good tight end. If you think about it, any year that we've done anything, we've always had a tight end that can catch and run. Okay. Even when we were, the Dan Mullen year where we had, number 84, Pitts. That guy was incredible. Even though he was kind of like a hybrid tight end, whatever. And I know people don't want to talk about Hernandez, but hey, he was dominant when he was out there. So listen, you got to have a really good tight end. Maybe Harpering will be that. If not, they're saying he's a good blocker. He understands the scheme. That'll be very important. And Amir Jackson, I think, was on the team. So, he's going to be a pretty good little tight end. So I feel really good about the offense with the scheme and everything. I just got to see it unfold, and I got to see the quarterback position, because I think if you said, okay, forget the quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss is the quarterback for Florida, we'd be unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the ability of the players that we have. It's just the quarterback is the question mark. That if you have a great one, you're endless possibilities. But if you have one that they're trying to bottle up, and then we don't really know. So I'm interested to see that. I like the team. I like the offense. Let's get 40-some points on the board against FAU and see what we got.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that jumps out at me too, and we'll move on, so we're not spend too much time on it, but the depth, I like the depth here. And of course, on the offensive line, it's probably also kind of a big question mark in the sense of we haven't seen a lot of these guys play. Yeah, you have Harrison Moore. You got some of the talented guys here. Bryce Lovett played a little bit for the Florida Gators last year. Kanaje Harris as well. And then Amika, he's the one kid that came from Stanford, if I'm not mistaken. He played a lot last year. But still, it's like there's not any big elite guys here, but a lot of guys that are very capable, and we're definitely a couple of players deep, EJ, on the line. And when you have our boy out there as the offensive guy, bet that you're good, brother. But yeah, I mean, especially when you have our offensive line coach right now too, man. We're chilling, guys. We're chilling. So very excited about this offensive unit. Like EJ said, he made a great point, by the way. A quarterback, if you take an elite quarterback, throw him in with this group, god dang, bro, it's gonna be dirty. 556 said, with this wide receiver room, there's no reason we shouldn't be in the playoffs if we got a decent quarterback. 100%. I totally agree. I think a big question is going to be the offensive line for sure. But I mean, I trust our coach there. I think we're going to be solid. But the offensive line is going to have to, think about the past couple of years. The offensive line has had some good players. Obviously we've had Slaughter at the line. We had Barber on the outside, but we also struggled quite a bit at times. So I would like to. We haven't had really an elite offensive line guy. We had Jake Slaughter, and then what was the one guy that Napier brought with him year one that played for the Bills? That's playing for the Bills. I forgot his name, but also that's another great guy. But other than that, the offensive line has been pretty mid. So we'll see what happens with that group. With let's see. You said Kenny said with this depth of wide receiver, we will have a 1,000-yard receiver. I think if anything, Kenny, that probably is the that's probably the opposite of what the case here, because the more great receivers you have, the more you're going to have to distribute it. I mean, Buster Faulkner talked about it in a press conference very, very recently where he was like, look, he's like, it's almost a curse having this many good guys because you want to get the ball to everyone. And he already talked about how Jaden Ball is going to be used as a running back. He's going to get a lot of carries a game, but it's also going to be put in the backfield as a wildcat quarterback. We saw him, in that formation a little bit in practice in spring, and we're going to see that probably this fall for sure. And then also being used out of the backfield as a receiver. I mean, Jaden Ball is going to be all over the place, man. So there's definitely a lot of capabilities here with this unit. And so I don't think we'll have a 1,000-yard receiver, mainly for that reason, because there's so many weapons that Buster's going to want to utilize. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But I'm just excited to have an offensive mind, DJ, and everyone watching, that is going to actually the game plan is going to change from game to game. It's not going to be fake play action, roll out to the right and get hit by a defensive end right away, or all hitches. He loved his hitches. Napier did his little 5-yard hitches on 3rd and 2. So it's like we're going to see something a little bit different. Very excited for that, and it's going to change game by game. So that's kind of our overlook of the offense. Defensively, I think it's a little more interesting. Now, we talked about how Brad White, I think, is going to really, really shine this year. He has a lot more talent than what he usually has had in the past, and he's still been very consistent in his previous stop at Kentucky. Now, he's staying in the SEC, so that's a good thing, EJ. It's not like he's really going up to play different competition. He's playing the same kind of, competition now in talent, but with more talent. And so that consistency should really, statistically only get better, right? Now, what I'm really worried about here, EJ, is I like the defensive line, pretty solid. I like the edge rushers. I mean, you have Jaden Woods, you have KJ Ford, man, really excited to see him out there, by the way, and some other guys. The linebacker group in the DB room, in my opinion, is very, very either unexperienced or very just thin, right? Behind, Miles Graham's great. Jaden Robinson's great. Aaron Childs is great. Behind those guys, you got a redshirt freshman Ty Jackson, redshirt freshman Miles Johnson, and then you have Malik Morris back there as well, EJ. DB room, same thing. We have to stay healthy because behind the three guys, McLean, Johnson, and Kanye Clark, you're looking at Elijah Owens, Ben Hanks, and Javari Flowers, guys who haven't played too much. And yes, you're right. Ball was a quarterback in high school. Exactly. So, yeah, I'm very excited to see you could use him as a wildcat. He's probably going to be throwing the ball all over the place, too, in certain. Hey, you know what? Maybe Philo and Trammell, if they're not great, fuck it. Put Ball back there. You know what I mean? See what he could do.
That's what I was saying last year when Lagway was messing up.
Yeah, for real. So that's what I'm worried about with this defense overall. I think it's a really solid group for sure. What I'm worried about is the depth, though, EJ. So once again, kind of going into this season, what I was telling you and saying earlier is I think health is going to be massive, right? Avoiding those injuries.
Yeah, it's an interesting jack formation that we got here. Here's the thing. Nose guard, Mbachu. Did we say that right? Mbachu? Yep. All right. Want to make sure it's right. Now, here's the deal. When you got 3 dedicated linemen, and Jaden Woods is going to be effectively a dedicated pass rusher, but he can drop into coverage or multiple. You got to be able to get pressure with those 3 guys. Okay, and the nose guard, I think, is the anchor. And at the end of the day, if you don't get any push up that middle, that's going to be a problem. You're going to play some teams that want to hit you quickly up the middle. And so that nose tackle position becomes very, very interesting. The best defenses in the country, they usually don't have a lot of weaknesses, but just notice the push that they'll get up the middle. Like they will stop the midpoint of that offense. Those 2 gaps in between the center and the 2 guards. Those are, if you can plug that up, that is very, and I don't know if we're there yet. Now, Brendan Bett, Now, isn't this the Mississippi State savior?
No, I think that's the guy that transferred to Ole Miss. Braden Bett is the guy that spit on the one dude in that one game.
Oh, okay, yeah, the spitter. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, Brendan Bet is the guy that spit. He spit on the guy.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Well, hey,
Don't mess with
at least he's
Brendan.
got, yeah. At least he's got some fight. Bet. Okay, so we'll see what he can do. I'm the I'm most worried actually about the defensive line, those three players,
Mhm.
because what makes Jaden Woods really good is if the other three guys are eating up their blocks.
Mm.
So if they're just you hike the ball and it's like patty cake Baker's man. No, you got to get under that block and get to the quarterback and get your hand on the running back, because if you don't make contact in the backfield, it's a 2-3 yard run. And that's what happened to us all last year. They'd hand the ball off and we wouldn't even touch the guy until he's two yards past the line of scrimmage. So now it's a guaranteed 3-4 yards. So those three guys are going to be important. I like the linebackers, Graham and Robinson. I think they're going to be really good. I actually like some of these, Bryce Thornton, obviously, Dijon Johnson. Cormani McClain's had his moments, but I think with a good scheme, he'll probably be a little bit better. I'm not asking for us to be like the top 10 defense in the nation, but ESPN SP Plus is saying that we're 12th. So I'm like, well, how the hell are we 12th? We got to be able to stop people with these front three. So that's the number one thing in FAU when our defense gets out there that I'm going to be watching. Because if that front three gets pushed around by FAU, we're screwed for the whole season. And it just wrap it up. Just go ahead, because the defensive line isn't something you fix overnight. And I know people fans, well, maybe we'll fix it for the next game. Maybe it's just something you can. No, if you're getting pushed around, if they're head knocking you, you can't get off your block against FAU. There's no hope. There's no hope unless you're bringing in a whole new team, unless somebody's hurt. So Mbachu, I need to see him when they hike the ball. Just see, does he move forward or does he move backwards? Like, that's the most important thing with the deal. Are you moving forward or are you moving backwards? Because if you're moving backwards, that's a bad sign for a defense. So Brad White, I like him. I like his scheme and all that. We can't be pushed around against FAU that first game. It's going to be ugly.
That's why that's who I'm talking about, the Ole Miss guy, Makai Barreau. That's his name. When we lost him, that's the Mississippi State guy that got the pick. He was a guy who was very solid interior wise for the Florida Gators last year, EJ. And so when we lost him, I was like, all right, now Mbachu, now McLeod, guys who were pretty consistent last year are gonna have to step up. Now we got the big Brit back there. We got Emmanuel. I'm not gonna try to say his last name. He's a big boy as well off the edge. So I'm not worried about the edge rushers. I'm worried, like you said, about these interior guys. We got DK Kalu. This is the transfer from Baylor, EJ. I know you mentioned it. He's a guy who didn't play a whole lot, wasn't great on PFF, but he's a big body guy. He's a big dude. If he can get in there and fill a couple gaps up, that'd be massive. So I agree. The defensive line's got to make some kind of push to allow Jaden Woods to work on the outside. And like you said, to take a little bit of pressure off this DB room, which is a little bit thin. So we'll see what happens. I'm pretty curious just to see how this all plays out. Offense, not worried. Defense, there's a lot of things that can go wrong here, whether it's the defensive line or whether it's the thin nature of this or I guess lack of depth of some of these positions. Safety room, I'm not worried about though. Look at that safety room: Bryce Thornton, DJ Coleman, Drake Stubbs, and Cam Dooley. We're chilling. I'm not worried about safeties at all. In worst case scenario, maybe one of those guys can go back and play DB. You know what I mean? If it gets too thin, because that's a deep room. But yeah, we're chilling there. Kicker Patrick Durkin, punter Alex Clark. We talked about those two guys. Two guys who were all first team in their conference last year with Tulane. So we love that. And punter, kick returner. I mean, we got hella guys back there. VB3, Jaden Ball, which I probably wouldn't throw him back there. But you got Eric Singleton, Micah Mays. Like, you can go on and on and on. So, Abrams. So, We got a good group here, man. I'm curious, but a lot of things can go wrong here. Kenny said, or 556 said, Hanks. He's talking about Hanks. Yeah, Ben Hanks, man. He's a very talented young guy. Not a lot of experience, so we'll see what happens. Kenny said, bottom line, Spurrier made the blueprint for championship speed and good defense. Haven't seen it since Meyer. That's true. And you brought up a great point, and maybe this is the year that we start to see those two things a little bit at the University of Florida. Kenny said, watch Hanks this year leading with interceptions. I hope so, man. I hope so. He's a great cover corner. Ben Hanks, dude, he's a great press guy. Man coverage, I mean, just a monster back there. Once again, haven't seen too much of him. We'll see if he can step up, EJ. And we have three great corners in with Kanye Clark as well. But if we have three great corners in, Kermani McLean, Dejon Johnson, and Ben Hanks. Flowers, by the way, played a lot last year. This DB room could be a really good. Like I said, I'm just a little bit worried about depth, so we got to stay healthy personally, in my opinion. But
yep,
we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and move on to kind of what's going on, the sentiment, kind of with the fall camp opening up. What we fear, the quarterback battle, no timeline, no clear real separation is going on right now. So we're still kind of worried. But once again, we probably won't know, EJ, who the quarterback is until they trot out on the field for that first play against FAU. And even, because it's not an SEC game, they don't have to announce the depth chart. So Summerall said that himself. Summerall's culture, things we love, Wilson being healthy, Thornton and, Miles Graham on defense, Faulkner saying he wants Spurrier and Meyer energy. I mean, it's all beautiful, man. Give all these guys, their visors, man, and call it a day. But yeah, it's exciting, man. I'm really feeling good, EJ. What's your overall vibe right now? On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think the vibe is for the Florida Gators going into this season?
I think our vibe is really excited. Like, I really think we have an excited fan base. Everyone's hyped up. I have some people that live in Gainesville, work at the hospital. They're excited. They're buying a bunch of stuff. We can't afford anything, but we're still buying it. And here's the deal. We got to capitalize on that momentum. We got to come out in this FAU team. We can't be like that 2015 game that needed overtime to beat them. Okay, because then we're going to be in Great Depression.
Maybe we just bring back Brian Poole for one game. You know what I mean? Bring him back, let him get another game-winning interception.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we need to come out of that game and knock them dead, and then I think we got some momentum. But if we can start 3-0, I'm telling you, like, this Gator fan base is hungry as hell to have a good team. Like, we don't have to be great this year. We don't have to be national championship worthy, but we can't be ineptitude like we have been the last 2 years, where it's like, did we even practice? Like, do you even spend any time coaching it? I don't think I have any issue with Summerall, because the guy seems like he's on top of it. So I think if he just keeps that momentum going, I think it's good. But it's interesting, like the Auburn, we did a search on the Auburn website, their Twitter. It's kind of quiet over there, but a lot of the fans, are interested because they, Summerall, my friend that went to Auburn, he was saying, yeah, we're going to get Summerall. We're going to get Summerall. And then we got him. And so then I'm kind of like, that's how their whole fan base was. So they were really wanting Summerall. But Auburn's a very difficult situation to win at. It's like, so you can kind of see why Summerall went to Florida, because Auburn, you got to play Georgia every year, and you got to play Alabama every year. You got a tough schedule. You're like at A&M, at LSU, at Alabama, Georgia. Now you play Florida this year. So it's always a really tough schedule. So Summerall was like, screw that. You can win more in Florida. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I think that's sort of what the feel is. Keep the momentum. We're ready. We're ready to jump through the wall. We just give us hope.
Momentum's everything in life, right? We talk about that all the time. I mean, once you have momentum in life, you got to ride that momentum because it's hard to build back up. So I totally agree. Kenny said, a gross for kick and punt returns. Dude, the true freshman, EJ. That guy's a monster back there. You're right. He would be great to see. We got Justin Williams as well. He's also a great pick. He's not, right? Is Justin Williams this recruiting class, or was he this past one? I think he was this past one, right? Justin Williams, the receiver. I think he was this past one. Guy who played offense and defense. Either way, we got great guys back there. I agree. You know, I don't want to put Jaden Ball back there. Keep that man safe. Keep him okay. Keep him healthy. Bro's gonna be pretty much our entire offense. I feel like for a while. But I agree with everything you said, EJ. All of it. All right. So yeah, I mean, one to love, one to say out loud. Just kind of things to kind of think about here. You know, I mean, look, every model in the sport looked at a 4-8 team and gave us a projected top 12 defense. So it's just kind of talking about how, look, we have a lot of great things going for us, right? I mean, the coaches poll not looking great. A lot of these, you know, analysts and stuff and you know, journalists and stuff online are talking bad about the Florida Gators, but you look at what the you know computers are saying, and they're giving Florida a little bit of love. So in the strength of schedule, 7th nationally, it's not going to be an easy route to get to that. But like you said, I feel like right now Florida, it's tough because you're looking at how the past, you know, I don't even know how long now, EJ, really since 2020 has been for the Gators, right? It's been shit. It has not been great. And so you look at that and you go, can there really be a change? But then you look at the roster and you go, okay, it's not too bad. But we still lost last year, the past couple years with a really good roster. But now we have a really good roster and a really good coaching staff. But I feel like we're still haunted from our past. So a lot of it I feel like is going to be a mental game, right? Of getting past that and getting in there and playing good football. So we will see there. Not too much going on with that. Okay, let's talk about some basketball, EJ. I'll let you kind of take over this segment of the show here.
Oh.
We're going to dive right into that. Some stuff to dive into here, man. I mean, listen, Aberdeen back, preseason number 1, EJ. The whole roster's up on the screen now that we got, the starting 5. Let's hear it.
Yeah, real quick update on the basketball team. I know everybody's, hey, get your tickets. They're going to be selling out with the basketball team. High expectations this year. Yeah, we kind of fizzled out last year, you know, with the whole we can't make any threes situation. But with the injunction, so there was an injunction. I like that word, injunct. I need to injunct a few people myself. So what that was, and I knew this was going to happen. They passed a new rule in college athletics that give you 5 years of eligibility, and you can play all 5 years. But what it did was it got rid of the red shirt pretty much, and injuries are factored in. So if you play 4 straight years, you can play a 5th year. If you play 2 years, get hurt, you still got 2 more years. It's all based on a 5-year. You got 5 years to play 5 years, pretty much. So what they screwed everyone on was last year, the class of 2022 ended their 4th year and they weren't subject to this new rule. So they were all like, well, what the hell? Just because we were 1 year removed, we can't get a 5th year? So they did a whole lawsuit and everything. And so then the judge said, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. NCAA, you should have just gave everyone who ended their 4th year an extra year. You're all idiots. And so that was the ruling. It was applied across the country. And now everyone who was a class of 22 has 1 more year. And guess who was class of 22? Aberdeen. And so guess what? He's on our team now. So he's going to be able to play. Now, the NCAA, these people keep embarrassing them. I'm like, can y'all just let AI run the NCAA? It'll be a lot better. Now they're doing an appeal to reverse the judge's decision. And I'm like, well, you can't reverse the decision. Anyway, so we're not thinking the decisions are going to get reversed. Just let them play. And so now you've got Denzel Aberdeen. Here's an interesting stat. Now, I brought this stat up, and then people started copying me because I said it on a podcast. When we won the national championship in 2025, in games that Denzel Aberdeen made a 3-point shot that season, we were 26-0. Can you believe that? That is the craziest, weirdest statistic I've ever heard. But when he actually made a 3-pointer, we were undefeated. So he's back. He was arguably Kentucky's best player last year, if you watched college basketball. And he's going to be replacing Xavier Lee, who I thought Xavier Lee was pretty good. He just had some issues making threes. And it was better toward the end of the year. But he wasn't really a player that you could give the ball to and be like, he can make something happen, Um, that's the type of player Denzel Aberdeen is. And so I really think Aberdeen with Boogie Fland, I don't think Boogie Fland's going to be as bad of a shooter as he was last year. He improved the second half of the season. His defense is top notch. With Aberdeen, this is going to be a really good backcourt. Then you got Thomas Houck, the $8 million top. Can you believe that? I remember I went to the UCF football game with Brandon. You know Brandon. We met, y'all don't know Brandon, but we know Brandon. Anyway, we went to the UCF football game like 3 years ago. And then we were just walking down, where the swamp was. And Condon, Houck, and the other, he's a walk on. I think it's Cooper. Coop. They were all together. And so we, gave him a high five and everything. At that time, I was like, I should have said, you guys are going to win the national championship. This is amazing. Because that was the year they did it. And they were just walking down, free play. But this is before anyone knew anything about these guys. Now you got Houck making $8 million. He's making more than LeBron this season, which is insane. LeBron's going to Philly, $4 million. Now he's got some endorsements, so it's probably way more than that. But just, that's crazy. So now you got $8 million Houck in Condon and Chinyalu making all this money. These guys are incredible. The one thing that's going to be different about this team is going to be the front court depth. Because last year you had handcuffs, Micah Handlockton, coming off the bench, giving you some great minutes. This year, it's a little bit different. You can see on the screen you got a couple of guys that we brought in from international. You got Budachavis, and then you got Petrovic. Now the difference between these two guys and Handlockton, they're not 7 feet tall, but they're like 6'10", but they can shoot threes. Because Todd Golan said to himself, look, if it's one thing we're going to do this year is make threes. Because I'm sick and tired of seeing us missing all these freaking threes. So he said, look, and not only we're going to make threes, but we got to make threes from the front court. So he's bringing in these guys that can shoot threes. You still got Klavjar, you got Isaiah Brown, you've got Ingram, who's Cornelius Ingram's son. I think he's going to be great. So this is clearly the number one team. We open up with Miami in Tampa on the same court that we lost to Iowa. So watch out for that because Miami's supposed to be pretty good this year. They have Somto Surreal on their team. If you don't remember who that guy is, he played for Georgia and he punched Chinyalu in the head. I don't know if y'all remember that. And so then they had to kick him out of the game. So he's on Miami now. And we also play a game against Duke in Gainesville. It's a miracle. Duke actually has to play on the road for a change. So that's going to be the game that I think is going to decide like who's number one, because we're going to be one, they're going to be two type of thing. And we're trying to get our tickets to go to Vegas. Oh yeah, Logan, you got to come with us. I don't think Logan's ever been to Vegas. Can people say in the chat should he go to Vegas? I think he should go to Vegas. I mean, you're right. You're perfect age. You need to go to Vegas.
I've been to Vegas, but when I was like 15, so I couldn't do anything. So now that I'm 22, we're gonna gamble it up, baby. Let's go.
Exactly. Put in the chat if you've been to Vegas. What's your favorite thing to do? And then we got to force Logan to do that. Okay. So we're all going to Vegas for it's like I think it's called the tournament that they have.
Yeah.
Players
it's on the
era.
Screen now for him.
Oh, great. And then we play Notre Dame. Okay. So we're going to beat the crap out of them. And then I don't even know who we play after that. So got a pretty good schedule. And the reality is if we stay healthy, that's going to be number one. We should definitely be a Final Four team, national championship type team. And that's why everyone's having us number one. So really happy to see this come together. Let's go out and, do something special. Anytime you have a really good team, you got to go support them. So I'm definitely going to be at the Vegas. I'm not too far from that. And I'm going to try to make it to one of the home games this year. Maybe the Duke game, if I can Yeah, it's gonna be expensive. Everybody's gonna want to go to that game. But yeah, so that's the basketball update. I'm happy. I'm excited about the team. We're gonna be highly anticipated.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year, man. I mean, this lineup, like you said, is so dirty, dude. I mean, it's so dirty. You're looking at, like I said, Boogie coming back, and defensively, what a nasty group. Like that, I mean, it's going to be amazing. You got Chimulu, you got Boogie Flan out there. It's yeah, defensively going to be great. Not worried about that at all. I didn't know Thomas Hawk was getting paid like that, but that is Tommy himself, baby. That he's the definition of what being a Gator is about. And so
Yeah,
pay
for
that
sure.
man what he wants. Like that, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
exactly.
Aberdeen obviously coming off of 13 and a half points per game last season at Kentucky. I mean, the stats are up here for you guys right now, and of course, Urban Clavzar, dude, we love that guy. We love the the best six man, in college basketball, baby, coming in here and if he can come in here and back up Boogie Flam when we need to make some threes, baby, that's gonna be dirty. Like you said, C.J. Ingram, Isaiah Brown, those guys might be able to obviously take big steps forward this year. EJ, maybe get on the court a little bit more, and those two transfers like you spoke about with the big. So yeah, very, very excited. I mean, it's not going to be easy. You're looking at the SEC games that matter at Texas versus Vanderbilt, who obviously the big rematch. They kicked us out of the tourney last year. Alabama, at Tennessee, at Auburn, Kentucky for Senior Day. It's going to be a dirty season, man. So I'm really excited. Definitely want to go to. I still have not been to a Florida Gator basketball game, so definitely got to make it happen, man.
Yeah,
Would
we're
be
definitely going.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun to definitely hit up at least one. Um, and then yeah, we just looked some stats on last year, but EJ, that's gonna be it, man, for the basketball. It's gonna be it for all the football talk, man. It's starting up. These next few years or not next few years, next few weeks are going to be insane. Next few years will definitely be crazy too to see what happens with the John Summerall experiment. It's always fun when you start in the season with a new coach, right? Because you're coming off of just an absolute hell of 3 years, 4 years, whatever it was. I don't even know anymore. Haven't really been here since 2020. But it's been brutal, and I'm just excited. I feel like the energy's up there, like you were talking about, EJ. The energy's there. The team, just the team vibe overall is where it needs to be. Rusty Witt's an amazing strength and conditioning coach, man. This coaching staff from top to bottom is loaded. The players from top to bottom are loaded. Just a few key position groups that are going to step forward, EJ, and step up and make big plays and be consistent. And if that can happen, the Gators can go from being a 7-5 team and a 7.5 to maybe even up to 10 wins on the season. So it's going to be a fun one. I'm excited for it. Next week or the week after, we're going to go ahead, whenever they release the AP poll, we'll go ahead, we'll make our poll as well. Next couple weeks, we're also going to be diving through the Florida Gator football schedule. Each and every game, we're going to be giving our final predictions for each game before. And then halfway through the season, like we did last year, EJ, we'll stop. We'll take a look back on what our predictions were. And that's always fun when we go, oh, wow, we were wrong about that. Or, oh, shit, we're, better or worse than what we thought. Kayla says, y'all think we get Colton Hiller in basketball? EJ, do you know any? I don't know. I don't know the name.
Wait, who's that? Is
Colton
that like
Hiller.
a
Probably a recruit.
maybe a transfer? I think the issue right now with the basketball team is we're
He's
like
a
completely
he's a 5-star. Oh yeah, he's the number one player in the country, pretty much, from a small forward. So
we'll see. I think if I remember,
oh,
I
he's
think he
Maxwell
might be
Hiller's little
Max.
brother. Oh
Yeah, I think he
shit.
might be Maxwell Hiller's brother, right?
Ooh.
Which is why there was a chance. So we'll see. I Even though they're brothers, I think that's great. But I think at the end of the day, um, it's going to come down to who can pay him the most. Because I think here's the challenge with college basketball. Just so everyone knows, when they gave everyone an extra year of eligibility, they pretty much reduced the demand of high school recruits, even if you're like a 5-star person, because the coaches are always going to now have access to experienced people. And it's almost like, I was listening to some guy the other day. It's kind of like a restaurant, right? if you want to go into a restaurant and get a seat, but it's full, you got to wait for somebody to leave, right? But if now people are going to stay longer because they don't have to leave, it's just going to, like, where the hell are these high school players going to go? Because coaches want to get a experienced college person before they bring in a high school. So he's going to have a little bit of that, but there will be some teams, Duke probably wants him and, all that, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. But with all our team leaving next year, well, I don't know. Because here's the thing with the ruling. With the ruling, Hauk, Condon, Chinyalu can all come back next year, technically, because this
Oh
is
my
their
God.
fourth year.
That's
And you
crazy.
get 5 years. So they could technically come back next year. And hey, if I'm Hauk, and let's say you win the national championship and they get $8 million, then the next year they say, well, we'll pay you $10 million. Why the hell wouldn't you want to come back at that point? It's like, what's the point of the NBA if I'm making $10 million in college? Like at that point, it's like there's no point to having the NBA. It's like, you know what I mean? So I think that'll be interesting. Um, Maybe we can get the guy. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah. Kayla said them boys are trying to find the best way to get to the league. They said they think if Howell has a great year, we can get him. Yeah, Hiller. Yeah, I agree. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not too experted in the college basketball world, but we'll definitely see what happens. But I think pay is definitely gonna have to have something to do with it. So we will see. Brian Fisher said 10-2 floor. That's a hey
Okay.
man, I
All right.
love it.
All
I,
right.
I I love the confidence, brother. I think we're gonna go 7-5 this year. Listen, we'll go like I said. Honestly, we could probably do it next week, EJ, and go through game by game. And actually do our schedule prediction. Whatever week the AP poll doesn't come out, we'll do that. And we'll go through. I don't know. That's crazy. I respect it. It's like what we said earlier, Brian. I don't know if you were here for it. We think it's going to come down to the quarterback, right? Because if you get like Fernando Mendoza of last year, or you get a Trinidad Chambliss like EJ said this season, and you throw him in this offense, yeah, this offense is one of, if not the best offense in the SEC and in the country. Problem is the court. We don't have Trinidad Chambliss. We don't have a Fernando Mendoza, right? Who's going to step up into that position? And there's also defensively some holes that we kind of talked about earlier. 7-5, yeah, I think 7-5 is what we're gonna hit this season. Insane. Was gonna
Yeah.
subscribe, but not after that. Listen, we're not gonna be biased here. I'm not gonna be biased. I'm gonna tell you straight up what I think. I'm just saying, if you look at the schedule, and we'll talk about the next couple of weeks. Like I said, make sure you subscribe though, Kayla, because we'll talk about it, and you can kind of give us your thoughts. Because Brian doesn't agree that 7-5 is insane. There isn't even 5 teams with a higher talent than us, and we have real coaches now. I see that, but it's also where a lot of these games are positioned. We have the 7th toughest schedule in the country, and I think that look, we could take a look. Don't forget, don't know if you heard Billy ain't the coach no more. Now I feel you, but you got to think once again though too. Holding system has to be implemented, and it doesn't matter how talented you are. Yes, obviously that is key, but we're also thin in a lot of places. We talked about it earlier. The DB room very thin. The linebacker room pretty thin as well, with questions on the defensive line and how they're going to perform. Offensive line, yeah, I trust our boy back there, Troutwine, with these guys, but how are they going to perform? Quarterback room, what is that going to look like? I think, are they going to be stubborn even if Philo ain't doing good? Or are they going to throw Trammell in there? We'll see what happens. I think Trammell should start from what I've seen personally, but we'll see, man. You guys got to, there's going to be a lot of different things going on here. A lot of different elements, but I do agree. I think we're very, very talented.
Well. I mean,
I
I like
appreciate you,
the
Kayla.
hope. I like the hope that you know, that we got from our. We love our chat. We love you guys. But here's the thing. I picked our ass to go 10-2 last year, and we went 4-8. So it's like, well, what the? And then we had DJ Lagway coming. We were like, he's going to be the Heisman winner, and he was trash. And then we're like, well, maybe it's Napier, maybe it's the defense, maybe it was I don't know what the hell it was. We were terrible. So here's the deal. I want to make some money, right? We don't want to bet $100 and then lose it. So I said 8-4 because when you look at the schedule, here's the deal, guys. we got a talented team, but look at the rest of the country. We're like 8th in the SEC in terms of overall star power on the roster. Okay? Georgia goes 3 deep with 4 and 5-star players. Okay? 3 deep. 66 players out of 85. We have like 42. They have an entire offense and an entire defense of 4 and 5-star players deeper than us. So here's the deal. Okay, and if we get 2 guys hurt, it's over. So with the schedule, with the coaches, the only thing I want to see is we got to come out here and clobber FAU. If we can do that, I'm telling you right now, I got some hope that we can go 8-4 or better. But until then, I don't really see, like, if we're being objective and trying to take up, because I had the Gator glasses on, and then the CBS guy was making fun of me in the comments because I said we're going to go 10-2. You don't know what you're talking about. And then we lost the USF, and he responded back to me like the CBS guy, like the main one. And he was like, I thought you were going 10-2, Gator EJ. And I was like, yeah, we suck. We are, you got me. You got me. So here's the deal. Who are we going to beat? Are we going to beat Texas? Are we going to beat Georgia? Because we got to beat one of those two if we're going 10-2. Right? So I love this. We're gonna go through the schedule next week.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's really pointless to do that. I was telling Logan, until the first game is played. Because when that first game is played, we're all going to know what the rest of the season is going to look like. Just like last year when, we played Long Island iced tea. We didn't know crap after that game. I drank a Long Island after that one, actually. And it was, the drink that they put everything in. But then we played USF. I was like, it's over. Just 5 wins. Let's make a bowl. Let's, this was one game that we needed to win. It's over. So if FAU happens and we clobber them, I'm feeling good, Logan. We're feeling good because we're going to Auburn game.
Oh, we're going
to the Auburn game. You're driving. Yeah, you're driving. I'm old. I can't drive that far. You're young. So listen, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, look, I just want to throw this on screen real quick. And like I said, we'll talk about this next week. We'll do a game by game. And I would love for you guys to be here. We'll be here noon to 1 p.m. next week to talk about it. The reason I'm saying the DB room is too thin for me. Safeties is great. I told EJ this earlier. We went through this a little bit earlier, guys. Bryce Thornton, DJ Coleman, Cam Dooley, and Drake Stubbs. That's a great four-man safety group there. You look at the actual corners. Cormani McClain, Dijon Johnson, 2 guys who are monsters. I agree. Guys who are going to get better than they have been in the past. Dijon coming off of an injury. He's going to be fine, though. Summer already said he's good to go. Ben Hanks, from what we're hearing, he's really, really good. But once again, has he really shown that lockdown ability? No, he hasn't. He hasn't showed on the field just yet. But he has the ability to do that for sure. We talked about that. He's a lockdown guy coming out of high school. A guy who could be great in man-to-man press coverage as well. A guy who I trust out there. You would, but we haven't really seen too much. Javari Flowers, a guy who got a lot of playing time last year. I wasn't blown away by him, though. I'm saying, let's say, God forbid, Cormani McClain or Dijon Johnson goes down. Dijon Johnson. I mean, we're thin. We're thin there. I don't know. I'm just a little bit worried about that. But Kanye Clark, solid. Elijah Owens, I don't know. I haven't seen much from him. Kanye Clark, though, the transfer from UCLA, if I'm not mistaken, bringing him in, a solid guy could be there. I don't know. I'm a little worried about that group. But like EJ said, they're going to be put to the test. They're playing a Auburn offense that's going to spread you the hell out. And so, yeah, you're going to have to lock down and play well. The defensive line, someone said earlier, I think it was Brian, was like, our defensive line is going to be a strength. I see what you're saying. The edge group's great. Cameron James, Jaden Woods, KJ Ford, Emmanuel, the Brit coming from Britain out here. He's great, too.
Hey, that's good. You got the Tom Holland accent down.
Yeah, there we go. Thing is, you have, and then we have, what's his name, too? The guy who's always hurt. The number 11, what's his name? Oh, my God. Summerall's been saying he's been looking great. The other edge rusher we have. We agree the edge is looking great. The problem we have is going to be the interior defensive line, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
and I mean,
guys.
Brendan Beck
Yeah,
and Batu plays. Jeremiah McLeod's okay, but we're gonna need some. We're gonna need some consistency out of that group, especially since DK Kalu. We haven't seen much from him. The guy come from Baylor, I believe. So these guys are gonna have to step up and play consistently at the SEC level. LJ McCray, yes, LJ McCray, monster as well. They're saying he's always hurt, coming off of, I believe, ACL, knee injury, whatever it was. Dude's gonna be very, very good. I'm not worried about the edge room at all.
yeah. But the edge, the here's the thing people need to understand. The edges are only as good as those three down linemen can make them. Because if those three down linemen only take three guys to block, your edge is going to get pancaked. Okay? So, Mbachu, are you going to get some push in there? That's why I got to watch this FAU game. We all got to watch that. We'll go live. We got to watch this FAU game. We got to see a push up that middle.
We should do a live watch party. That'd be a lot of fun. I don't know. I mean, look, we'll see what happens. I think losing. I keep forgetting his name. The one guy that went to Ole Miss. I think losing him, the Mississippi State savior. The
Barrow.
Mississippi State, yeah. Mekhi Barrow. Losing him sucks because I thought he was a very consistent interior guy. You're right about Javari Flowers though. I think he did pretty well against Deuce Robinson. The problem is his consistency on his end. There's games where he just didn't play great. It was a consistency issue. Maybe that was a coaching thing. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Linebackers. That's what I was also talking about. A little thin there. I mean, you got Ty Jackson, Miles Johnson. We haven't really seen any of those guys play too much behind Jaden Robinson and Miles Graham and Aaron Childs. So we'll see what happens. Just a lot of young guys got to prove themselves. And look, like I said, we'll talk about this more next week. Talk about this in the upcoming weeks, man. A lot to get into. You guys let us know what you want us to talk about, though. We will dive into it. A lot of fun stuff here, EJ. But we're going to end the stream there. We're going for 2 hours now, man. This was a fun one. I really do appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
Caleb,
this was
Ryan,
good.
everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, man, make sure you guys subscribe. All 14 people watching, give this video a like. Really does help out a lot. We'll see you guys next Sunday. EJ, anything else you want to touch on before we get out of here?
Yeah, we love you guys. Hey, if we go 10-2, hey, if we go 10-2, we're gonna get these people on the show. Okay, we're gonna get them on the show. You're gonna tell us why we were wrong. Because guess what? I want to go 10-2. I want to beat the hell out of Georgia. When's the last time we beat Georgia? COVID? Was that the last time we beat Georgia? It was COVID. What the hell have we been doing the last 5 years? We used to be, when I was growing up, we beat them like a drum every year. And now it's the opposite. So, well, that one year, they got, they put in that Brian put in the, we did have them pretty close, Georgia, with Make-A-Wish kid.
We just need a catch. That was it. We just needed.
Yeah, and it was definitely a catch. Yeah. It was definitely a catch.
Fun,
and then we had Make-A-Wish kid come in because they hurt Lagway that year, and it was a touchdown. We were only down a touchdown in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I
think it was tied.
That was it a couple years ago. Yeah.
So we are right there, but it's the coaching. We got Summerall. Let's see what we can do. And then we can't go into Georgia all hurt. Like we've been like everybody's hurt. Play 2 games, everybody's hurt. So, Rusty Witt.
My boy, yes, sir. We love y'all though. We'll see you next week for sure. Yeah, y'all stay safe. Go Gators, baby.